WBRFradio.com News, I'm News Director Derek Sidian, and this is the weekly news recap, brought to you by Fergus Falls Monument, online at foreverstonmemorial.com, memorials that matter. The city of Hoffman continues to clean up widespread damage following a severe storm early Wednesday morning. City officials say that at around 2 o'clock, a severe storm with damaging winds swept through Hoffman, causing widespread damage, including a train derailment, overturned campers and mobile homes, downed power lines, and trees falling onto buildings and vehicles. A community-wide power outage left residents without power for over 24 hours. There are still downed and uprooted trees around the city. A 125-year-old barn is a total loss after a fire in Pelican Rapids Wednesday afternoon. The Ottertail County Sheriff's Office says deputies were called to the fire just off State Highway 108 at around 4:20. When authorities arrived, the barn and a wooden silo were engulfed in flames. The Pelican Rapids and Fergus fire departments extinguished the fire, but both structures are a complete loss. Deputies say the owner of the barn and his son were attempting to start a 1976 Mercury car that was stored in the barn using starting fluid. However, the vehicle backfired and started on fire. The blaze quickly spread from the vehicle to the barn. The only items of value reported to be in the barn were the car and some tools. Deputies say no suspicious circumstances were noted in the investigation. A teenage girl was hospitalized following a semi-crash in Elizabeth Tuesday afternoon. State troopers say that around 2:45, the semi was heading north on Highway 59 while a Jeep was heading west on County Road 10 when the two vehicles collided in the intersection. The 15-year-old driver of the Jeep was transported to Lake Region Hospital in Fergus Falls for treatment of her injuries, the severity of which have not been disclosed. The semi-driver from Barnesville was not hurt. A homeless man has been sentenced to over 8 years in prison for sexually assaulting a minor in Ottertail County. On Monday, 26-year-old Shia Heights was sentenced to 100 months at the Minnesota Correctional Facility in St. Cloud after he pleaded guilty to third-degree criminal sexual conduct with a minor. Heights was accused of having sexual contact with a 14-year-old between March of 2024 and August of 2024. According to court documents, the victim told deputies that Heights had been staying with their family at the time. They said Heights had originally just wanted to have them hang out in his room, but he eventually initiated a, quote, physical and sexual relationship with them. The victim described their interactions like they were dating and said they, quote, broke up shortly after he moved out of the home. Heights has been in custody at the Ottertail County Detention Facility since March. Local American Idol star Chris Tungseth has been presented with a $10,985 check from the Fergus Falls community. On Tuesday morning, the Fergus Falls Area Chamber of Commerce and the committee that planned the Chris Tungseth Day events last month presented Chris with a check of the remaining money that was fundraised for the event after paying off the expenses. Chamber President Lisa Workman said,
Chris, you gave our community a reason to rally. We all wrapped our virtual arms around you, and the promotions committee was tasked with, hey, how do we raise a bunch of money to pay for a concert and such? We're like, yeah, we'll sell some t-shirts and some cardboard cutouts and signs, and then we'll sell out of t-shirts and we'll order more t-shirts. And they just kept selling. The community rallied. We paid for the concert. We paid all the expenses, and we want to give the rest to you.
Thank you.
So this is from your community.
Chris said that this has been the craziest journey of his life.
I've been fortunate. I don't think anyone else that's ever been on Idol has ever had a community like Fergus Falls. I feel like it's just one of the coolest things ever to come home and feel so loved. And I mean, beyond the money thing, it's just the love that I felt from everybody. And so this is just crazy. Just crazy. I love it. Thank you.
Last week, Chris released his first single, Lonely Road, and performed with Billy Ray Cyrus and Bucky Covington in Nashville. A chlorine leak at the Fergus Falls water treatment plant was successfully mitigated last weekend. At around 9 o'clock last Saturday morning, the Fergus Falls Fire and Police Departments responded to the water treatment plant on Water Plant Road for a reported chlorine leak from a 1-ton cylinder. Staff on site reported the leak was small and was isolated to the chlorine room at the facility. Hazmat technicians from the Minnesota Regional Hazmat Response Team from Moorhead responded and entered the chlorine room and successfully capped the leak on the cylinder. Responders were on scene for approximately 6 hours, with the cylinder ultimately being removed from the site by the chemical transport company. At no time was city water quality impacted because of the leak, and it remains safe and unaffected by this event. While not required in this incident, the fire department encourages residents to sign up for Smart 911 notifications, which will notify residents in the case an evacuation or shelter-in-place is necessary. The Fergus Falls Aquatic Center opened for the 2026 season on Monday. Despite a rainy morning and changing forecasts, many kids were excited to ride the slides and soak in the water. City Recreation Coordinator Pam Muxvelt says about 347 people visited the pool on its first day. The Aquatic Center's 2025 season ended with a total of 19,065 visits and $184,000 collected in admissions. With the addition of concession sales, the total revenue for the facility was over $234,000. The Aquatic Center made $77,000 in profits, despite initial projections estimating a loss of $125,000. Muxvelt says the Aquatic Center staff is looking for more help this year, specifically pool attendants that are lifeguard certified. The DNR is encouraging residents to celebrate Great Outdoors Month by taking advantage of several free opportunities this weekend. Saturday is Free Park Day, allowing visitors to enter all state parks and recreation areas without a vehicle permit, with many locations offering naturalist-led programs. Locally, Maplewood State Park will be holding 2 different events on Saturday. The first is a hike on Holloway Hill from 10 to 11:30 in the morning, and the second at 6:30 at night will be an educational event where participants can learn about native bats and help volunteers in surveying bat boxes. ATV riders can also hit Minnesota's public trails without paying the usual registration fee. Those who can't make it this weekend can check out 7-day state park permits at participating libraries. Last week, I went down to the newly renovated Humane Society of Ottertail County facility and spoke to the executive director about its expansion. Last week, the staff at the Humane Society of Ottertail County moved back into their location on Fir Avenue as work has wrapped up on the facility's $2.1 million expansion project. Executive Director Chris Cannon says the renovations allow for the Humane Society to show the animals at their best.
The entire space that we did not have before for animals, the public can come through and actually see those animals. They'll be able to meet them in our meet and greet area over here, something we didn't have before. We were doing a lot of our meet and greets in the lobbies, and it just wasn't ideal with all the business going on up front there. So we're really excited to be able to show these animals in a better light and hopefully be able to find their homes faster.
Along with having better places to showcase animals looking for adoptions, the larger space will also allow for new programs like the Rescue Readers program, where school-age kids can come and read to the animals.
Studies have shown that, kids reading to animals can help calm the animals, and it also helps with reading comprehension for the kids. So it's a win-win for everybody.
The Humane Society of Ottertail County is inviting the public to a ribbon-cutting ceremony and tours celebrating the renovated facility on June 26th from 4 to 6. On June 27th, the organization will be holding Foster Fest from 11 to 2. The event is for people interested in becoming animal foster families to hear from current fosters about what it's like to foster animals from the Humane Society. The Humane Society encourages anyone with a love of animals to reach out for volunteer opportunities. For KBRFradio.com News, I'm Derek Sidian. Tune in at 5 o'clock every Friday afternoon on KBRFradio.com or the Fergus Now app to stay up to date with local news. Find more stories on KBRFradio.com. Sign up for email news sent right to your inbox, delivered by Cooper's Office Supply.